time for our Happening in the Hamptons podcast, our weekly breakdown of the Hamptons market, new listings, and events on the East End. We are sponsored by New York Title Abstract, the Hamptons' leading title insurance firm. Visit NewYorkTitle.com. We have Steve Glick, Dave Rotiner, and today, believe it or not, a first-time guest, Miss Julie Masson. How are you?
I'm great.
Welcome to the podcast. We've done over 200 episodes now, and I can't believe we haven't had you on. So let's talk.
And 50,000 downloads.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I was pretty excited about that.
We're so popular.
Over time.
Finally. Take that, high school me. I told you you'd be popular someday. So I want to take a different direction on this podcast. It's Thursday. It's raining. Let's talk about regrets. No, but in all seriousness, we were talking before the podcast about real estate regrets. Everybody has one. I have them. You have them. And I think your story is a good one to share because one of the questions that so many agents get asked so often is, when's the right time to buy? Or I'm going to wait. Or I'm going to buy when it's at the bottom.
So true.
Blah, blah, blah. So when's the best time to buy? And the best time to buy is now. Whenever now is. So tell me your real estate regret story because it's a good one.
Well, we're in now. Whatever's happening now is happening now.
Yes. You know? But imagine if you had bought in like 2009, right?
Yeah.
When everything was like right at, and it would be the greatest decision of your life. I, of course, was...
Real estate is if you can afford the payment, it's always the greatest
decision. It's always
decision.
a good time to buy. Anyway, Julie, what is your real estate regret, and what have you learned from it?
Well, I mean, what you're saying is correct. The time to buy really is if you've got the money and it's not going to throw you under the bus to do it, just do it.
Whenever it works for you.
Whatever works for you.
Individual question.
Correct. And, back in the early 2000s, I had the opportunity to buy a house in Sag Harbor Village on a really nice street. And it was a beautiful old, typical historic village home. Mm-hmm. And it was $350,000. Hey. And anybody who knows the market in Sag Harbor Village understands that house probably is worth close to $6 million now. So goodness. In 20 years-ish, 22 years, the appreciation on that house has been incredible. But I was afraid. I had never bought a house before and took a step back and didn't do it. And, 2 years later, when I bought my first house for $400,000, and it was a tiny little ranch, a 3-bed, 1-bath outside of town.
Yeah.
That was only a couple of years. And It was basically, I was spending more money for a lot less house.
Right.
So it's interesting. I mean, a lot of people tell you, like, real estate's a long game, right? And this certainly would be. But the appreciation even, 10 years ago, right? It would have made sense to have bought.
Yeah, the question is, can that still happen? And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
It could still happen, not at that rate, but it's every year we're seeing those median prices and the sales prices continuously go up. There was a huge jump, during 2021 and 2022. So,
but it's like it makes you wonder if that house is going to be in 20 years. Is that a $12 million house? Does somebody look back now and say, "I'm glad I got it for $6"? Who knows? But I will
say,
right. I will say, so I'll go back to 2008, right? 2009. I was young and I was in news, and I remember doing stories. I was in Charlotte at the time of people that were underwater on their mortgages because of the bubble bursting. And I was like, real estate is why does anybody do this? And it's because I wasn't educated on the industry, I knew television, I knew news, but real estate was kind of this foreign thing to me that in my mind, it was like you buy a house someday and that's what you do. You buy the house, you get a mortgage, and that's what living is. Now, of course, I understand significantly more of the power of real estate, but I think it's a good reminder of why it's important to have a good real estate agent working with you to walk you through this kind of
100%.
stuff because they know the industry. They can say to you, hey, this house, you have one in contract now that's a $2 million house.
Right.
It's a lot of house for the money. It needs the work, but with the right vision, that house will appreciate considerably over the next 10 years.
And that house actually will probably appreciate as soon as the next buyers take it over because it's actually it is a lot of house, and it's in very good condition.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that the finishes are all from 2004 when the house was built. But the neighborhood is fantastic. The trades there are up to $5 million.
And where is this? This is in Sag Harbor?
Yeah, it's on Rolling Hill Court, and so it's just off of Brick Hill Road.
Let me ask you a question. So why Sag Harbor? Why is Sag Harbor all of a sudden...
Yeah, you're the expert.
We're seeing this change. Like, we keep talking about this valuation 20 plus years ago. Now this property already going to improve in its value after it trades. Like, why?
Well, Sag Harbor, when I first moved there, was a place that nobody really wanted to be. I happened to have a friend who had a rental that I shared, so that's how I got into Sag Harbor. I was living in a little rental on Main Street. I was paying $400 a month for a room in this historic house, a 2-bedroom rental. Nobody can even fathom that right now, that the whole rent was under $1,000 a month.
Right.
But I fell in love with it. It's a year-round community. It's a walking community. People are on the street. You're talking to people all the time. It's just really quaint and charming. And
this is how it is. This is how it was back then as well?
And
it was super artsy, too.
Yes. And I think that has only evolved over time.
Sure.
So, it's... When everybody got priced out of everywhere else, they started looking to the Unhampton, which was Sag Harbor. So...
Also shocking.
When I was a
That's what they
kid,
called
I
it.
have a vivid memory. of being like 10 and somebody saying, "Why would you live in Sag Harbor? You can't get to the ocean." It's not on the, like,
It's the furthest away from the ocean.
And I remember thinking, yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Well, that was part of it.
Like, yeah, that place sucks. It's not, you can't get to the ocean.
Wow.
I remember thinking that,
Yeah,
And,
it's really not that hard.
I know, but that was something people would say, like, oh, it's not on the ocean, But now it's like the luxury yachts are there, and
Right, which they always have been to a point, but I mean, the waterfront has evolved. It's always been it's like the sort of boating community, and it's in the center of the Hamptons. So you're really close to East Hampton and to Southampton and everything in between,
You know what else, though? And I'm just working through this now in my head, and I kind of just thought of it just now. If you think about it, it's really the only Hamptons where all the locals' businesses truly survived.
Correct.
Like in East Hampton, it's Ralph Lauren, it's Aviator Nation
Cashmere
now.
Hampton.
Yeah, it's just
exactly.
like there's all these super luxury stores, which is great. But Sag Harbor, now that I think about it, is really the only town where every single building is a local business owned by a local guy who
Pretty
you can
much.
meet, Not just the hardware store, like even
Right.
the retail shops, even the little restaurants.
We still have a 5 and 10.
Yeah, the 5 and dime,
which I love.
And I think people like things like that. Like you'll meet like the farmer that owns farmland in Sagaponack, and it's kind of crazy that he still has it because it's worth millions. But you like the guy,
Right.
you want to know that guy,
Right.
I think it kind of is like that. Anyway, that's what I think.
Well, it's true. and you were talking about the arts before too, and the evolution. The theater's always been there, and the movie theater was there. Mm-hmm. The movie theater was always gross. We all knew it. It was a joke. You'd go in there, it was moldy. It was but you went and they only showed art house films, and it was fabulous, and the seats were really uncomfortable. And then it burned down.
Yeah.
And the resurrection of that movie theater has been incredible. I mean, it's so nice. Mm-hmm. They've got a bar up on the rooftop that so many people
really
don't
cool.
know
Yeah.
about
I
that
do
has
know about that. It's amazing
crazy
up there.
views.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so beautiful. You're looking out over the water, over the harbor. You can see the
get over there.
sunset.
It's good.
It's a fun night. Yeah, I took my daughter there once. We saw
and they do
Wicked.
stuff there too, but you can go there just for like a quiet, drink with a couple of friends, and it's not loud, and it's just really beautiful.
You don't need to see a movie if you go up there?
Yeah,
No.
you can just buy.
No.
And you know what's cool? It hasn't really.
Now you
It's
sit
like
down.
it's one of those places where if there's not a lot of people there, it's still fun.
It's you know what it is. They did it true to the original. You know what I mean? Like you drive by and it's like, oh, it looks just like the old Sag Harbor movie.
Correct.
Yeah.
But better. Cool. It's like restored.
Yeah. Yeah. Sag Harbor's amazing, and you're a real estate expert there.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've been doing it for over 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I live and I've been based in Sag Harbor. I mean, I do other areas, but it's really always been sort of my center.
And is that why? Just because that's so important as a real estate agent to kind of live where you're selling, because you just intuitively know things.
I think
right?
it's helpful. I mean, I do a lot of work in East Hampton also, but when I first came out here, I was living on the Napeague stretch, so I like really understand
Right.
like being way out in the boonies too. And with the time that I've spent here, I just have appreciations of all the villages and their differences. And I think understanding that when you're having a client that comes out that doesn't really know, say they know Southampton, but they're like, I don't know, we were thinking about some other ideas, knowing all the different locations, I think is really helpful in helping them find their groove and definitely opening their horizons, because maybe Southampton isn't the right town for them, but they just like the feel of the Hamptons and they
Right.
need to figure out where they need
And they
to be.
all are different. Every Hamlet
Very.
has its own.
We talk about
Very.
that a lot, like what each
Yeah.
hamlet offers, from the restaurants to the beaches to the bays to the docks to the water to sports. Everything offers something
Correct.
different for everybody, whatever you're
100%.
Have you ever had that experience where you had a client, that was kind of committed to one town, and then you showed them Sag Harbor, and then they were like, "Oh, but we think we like it here,"
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, totally. I've had people that were like Bridgehampton, and they're like, wow, it's really expensive, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And I'm like, well, let's go a little bit north.
Right.
And you show them Sag Harbor, and they're like, wow, this is great. And I'm like, and you're 10 minutes from Bridgehampton Village, and you're 15 minutes from the ocean.
Yeah.
So, but you get Long Beach, which is fantastic. You've got the marinas, you've got all these restaurants, and you can walk around town here. I mean,
To this day, it's like, it's so annoying. Like, whenever, like, to me, the Hamptons is one.
Story time with
Yeah,
Dave.
sorry,
Yeah.
I know I'm talking. But to me, like, the Hamptons is like one place. Southampton and Montauk is like one place. And so even now, like, someone will be like, "Oh, can you meet me in East Hampton?" And I'll be in Southampton, and I'll think, "Yeah, I'll be there in 5 minutes." Like, that's what I think in my head. Because it doesn't seem like they're these long, like, but it's it's like a 45-minute drive.
it is. I spend too much time going between them to
And
think
it screws
it's
me up
5
all the
minutes.
time. I'm like, it'll screw me up all the time. Yeah, we can go to East Hampton. It's like nothing. You know what I mean?
It took me an hour
But
to go 14 miles
yeah,
today.
like I'm able to.
It's funny,
West Hampton Beach, I'm able to say is far away. Like I'm able to be like, I got a plan to get to West Hampton Beach, but
it's probably easier to get to West Ham Beach than it is to
I know,
Amagansett.
I know,
West Hampton
I
from where
know.
you are.
But just mentally, because the drive is so peaceful and
understand.
relaxing.
Yeah.
To me, a 45-minute drive from East Hampton to Southampton is nothing. But
Yeah.
from Southampton to West Hampton Beach, it's
Because
like,
you get a beautiful
I
drive.
gotta really
Well, 'cause
gear
you're
up.
getting on the highway.
Yeah, I
You know,
guess.
I
I guess.
Take
that's
these
the
great back
difference.
roads and see some cool houses and cool streets.
I like it.
Yep.
All right, let's get a bigger picture. Look at the numbers with the boss.
All
What do
right,
we got?
this week was not our best week. It was 14 listings that went into contract. Last year, 32. We're looking at a decrease there of 56%. And 2 years ago, there were 34, a decrease of 59%. Usually we're seeing over 20. This is the first time in the past couple weeks that we're seeing it be below that with 14. But the breakdown of those 14 listings, there was one over 20 million, one between 5 and 10, three between 3 and 5, four between 2 and 3, two between 1 and 2, and three under $1 million. The dollar volume was $65 million. Last year was $82 million. That's a decrease of 21%. The dollar volume 2 years ago was $149 million. So it's a decrease there of 56%. But the key takeaway this week is new listings coming on the market. 39 new listings.
Wow.
So just
Wow.
a tick under 40. So it increases the market by 25 listings. So a lot of new inventory hitting the market this past week. The breakdown, there was one between 15 and 20 million, two between 10 and 15, five between 5 and 10, 12 between 3 and 5, five between 2 and 3, 12 between 1 and 2, and two under $1 million. Lots of different properties in all categories. The inventory is at 1,880 total listings, 1,435 active listings, and 445 in contract. So another solid week of new listings coming on for the springtime.
Got that time of year.
Yes, sir.
It's a little dreary out though. It doesn't feel like springtime.
No,
I know.
no.
Wow, wow. Like the Debbie Downer, the podcast.
Thanks.
Sorry
Dave.
for bringing everybody down.
Do you have any real estate regrets?
Me?
Yeah, you've owned two houses out here, right? Two.
I mean, I have. I guess I have a regret. I owned one of those trailers in Montauk, but
No.
yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
The one
That was
like
how-
$3 million?
Yeah, that was how I got started. But I think I bought it for like 50 and sold it for like 150 and thought I was like a genius. You know?
But it's not a bad move. You just get
Yeah.
what you do.
And I did that outside of school, right outside of college. But I really didn't want to live there year round. Like I was living there year round.
Yeah.
And the maintenance part was increasing, and I was like making no money at the time. So just covering the maintenance was like really stressful. So, I mean, but if I was able to hang on to it, probably would be worth a lot more money.
The only regret, you didn't buy more.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
But
like even right now, I'm probably
the only regret
regretting.
is that I wish I kept all the real estate things I purchased. I always sold and bought, right?
Yeah.
If I would have just kept,
Bought and kept, yeah, and rented it out and kept it.
Figured out a way, but it's hard. You need to sell your asset to buy a little bit bigger.
Yeah, like you, when I was selling my cottage in East Hampton, you were like, just rent it.
Yeah,
And
ideally that would be great.
And I looked into that, and it was possible. Like that, I could have done something, and maybe I regret it a little bit, but it's very, very stressful.
It's easy to look
It's a lot of
back.
stress.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stress in real estate.
No regrets.
No regret.
You got to really learn how to disassociate yourself from the numbers.
Yeah.
Especially when you make X dollars an hour or X dollars a year, and then you hear like these. It sounds comical how much money it is.
Right.
So you got to learn how to disassociate because you really can't afford it. You just have to, you got to
once
break
you
it down over 30 years,
Once you become a famous Instagram
influencer,
you'll be
exactly.
fine, man. You can buy whatever you want. So what do you got this weekend?
Or professional athlete.
Yeah. That train is sailed.
Yeah. All right. So this weekend it's going to be all about Sag Harbor. So we're just talking about the movies. There's a movie at the Sag Harbor Cinema playing called Black Bag from director Steven Soderbergh. Black Bag is a gripping spy drama about the legendary intelligence agents George Woodhouse and his beloved wife, Catherine Woodhouse. So you got to see Black Bag. Also stars Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, there you go.
So, anyway, it's got to be so fun to write those movies. It's not fun to live the life of a spy, but to make the movie has got to be so much fun.
I would 0% want to be a spy, but I enjoy the movies.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
And then we wanted to talk about restaurants in Sag Harbor, right? Because there's just so many restaurants.
There are a lot.
I literally Googled restaurants in Sag Harbor, and it's ridiculous. You got Bill Bouquet if you want to go super fancy, and you got Tutto, Il Giorno, you got Dopo, you got Lulu, you got Page. All of these restaurants are open. You got Sag Harbor Tavern. So, and then we want to talk about Estia's. So
Love
what?
Estia's,
What's your favorite restaurant?
I recently ate at Estia's and it was excellent. And I hadn't had dinner there in a long time. They only do dinner on the weekends, but it is it's been one of my favorite spots since they opened, over 20 years ago. But, in general, my favorites probably the restaurants that are owned by David Lowenberg and Sam McClelland, which are the Bell and Anchor and the Beacon.
Everybody loves that. That's like the place.
That's great.
Well, you know what? So David
crazy.
Lowenberg is a restaurateur out here, if you guys don't know him, and he's done several projects with different people. He and Sam, the chef, do these two together, and they are the most consistently excellent in terms of food and service.
Okay.
I always bring guests to one of those two restaurants. It's kind of a given because I know we're going to have a great experience.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And I've never been disappointed. And it's, if you want fish, it's amazing. If you want a steak, that's amazing too. I mean, and in the summer,
And there's
when
good
the
energy
Beacon
in
is
there.
open, you've got like the best view in Sag Harbor overlooking the water.
So he owns Beacon and that one.
Correct.
And Beacon is so intensely good.
The
Beacon's
Beacon
like, oh my
is
God.
great.
Like, you don't even know what's going on. You're like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beacon is
It's the two
over
of
the
them
top.
and both.
It's on another level.
They're both excellent, and
Yeah.
I just love those restaurants.
Great review.
Yeah.
Ah, man, makes me want to go.
Well, if you want to get a
was there a
slice
week
of pizza, Cluckman's, the chicken spot, Cluckman's. So
Gluckman's the chicken.
sorry,
spot for pizza?
Gluckman. Sorry,
Gluck.
Gluckman. So I saw Michael Gluckman the other day, and he's got pizza there now.
Oh, really?
And it's like a slice shop. You can go in. There's no place in Sag Harbor where you can sit down and have a slice of pizza other than that
and
spot.
that's missed.
Get outta here.
You
And
know?
I swear to God,
What
yeah.
happened to the Sag Harbor Pizza place?
That's a place, but you can't just get a slice
It's not
there.
Conca.
You can't just go there.
Which was
yeah.
there forever.
But if
Oh,
you're
so he's
like,
gonna
oh,
kill it. So that's
if you want to
cool.
go in
That's-
for a slice, you go into Gluckman's, you get a slice.
Gonna make a
You
lot
sit
of dough,
down,
Dave.
You know,
Haha.
Not a chicken place.
I think he's gonna make a lot of dough. I only did that because you stole it. I guess that's what's going on.
Nice. All right. This has been a good podcast. I like this. Julie, anything else before we let you go for the day?
I don't know. I'm getting ready to head back to my house in Sag Harbor and enjoy some spring. So
That's it. We're
get
all
out in
ready
the
for
garden.
spring. Well, thanks for joining us. It will not be another 200 episodes before we have you back on.
Definitely
so
not.
Thank you. You did great. Good first podcast with us.
Thanks, guys.
The rest of us will be back next Thursday. Everybody, thanks for listening. I'm Major Dan, and that's what's happening in the Hamptons.